My stepfather made my mom disown me at 18. 3 years later, she begged me to pay for his cancer treatment and my stepsister's tuition. I refused. Hello Reddit I+ here. I was kicked out at 18. Not because I was a bad kid. Not because I got into trouble or did something unforgivable. No. My mom disowned me because her husband, my stepfather, told her to. I guess I should start from the beginning. I was raised by a single mom for most of my childhood. My dad wasn't in the picture and she did everything she could to provide for me. We weren't rich, but we got by. Then, when I was 14, she met him. I'll call him Steve because honestly, his real name doesn't even deserve to be spoken. At first, he seemed okay. A little strict. A little too eager to take over as man of the house. But I figured he was just trying to settle into our lives. But over time, I realized he didn't just want to be part of the family. He wanted to replace me in my mom's heart. It started with small things. Making snide comments about how she spoiled me too much. Getting annoyed whenever she spent time with me instead of him. Then, when he moved in, he started changing the house rules. My mom, who used to take my side on everything, suddenly started backing him up. By the time I was 17, he had full control. He had a daughter, my stepsister, who was a year younger than me. She was his princess. Whatever she wanted, she got. New phone? Done. Shopping sprees? Absolutely. But when I asked my mom for basic things like help with school expenses or even just a ride somewhere, I was suddenly too demanding. Then came my 18th birthday. I was excited, finally an adult, finally able to start figuring out my life. But that night, everything changed. My mom sat me down and said that I needed to move out. Not in a, let's get you ready for the real world kind of way. No, this was a, you're not welcome here anymore kind of talk. Steve sat there smirking, while my mom told me that I was ungrateful, selfish, and a burden. That I should stand on my own 2 feet instead of expecting her to take care of me. I tried to argue, but she had already made up her mind. I packed my things and left. The first few months were hell. I couch surfed, worked long hours at crappy jobs and barely got by. I had no one, no family, no safety net. But you know what? I survived. I worked my ass off. I saved every penny. Eventually, I found a stable job, an apartment, and started building a life that was mine. No thanks to my mom. Then, 3 years later, she called me. At first, I thought she was just reaching out to catch up, maybe apologize. But no, she needed something. Steve had cancer, a bad one. And my stepsister, the golden child, was starting college. My mom was struggling financially, and guess what? She wanted me to help. I almost laughed. This woman, who threw me away like garbage, now expected me to pay for the man who made my life a living hell? The same man who manipulated her into disowning me? She cried. She begged. She told me that family is supposed to support each other. I reminded her that she was the one who taught me family is conditional, that she made her choice 3 years ago, and now I was making mine. I said no. She screamed at me, told me I was heartless, that Steve was dying, that my stepsister needed me. I told her I needed her 3 years ago, and she didn't care. And then, for the first time in my life, I was the one to hang up on her. I never looked back. A week later, I got served. At first, I thought it was some kind of joke, maybe a prank, but no. My mother was suing me. Apparently, she thought that because I had a stable job and savings, I was legally responsible for helping her and her real family. She claimed filial responsibility, saying that as her child, I owed her financial support. She even went as far as saying that since Steve had acted as a father figure in my life, I should help pay for his medical bills. I was furious. This woman kicked me out at 18, cut me off completely, and now expected me to foot the bill for the man who ruined my life? Fine. She wanted to take this to court? Let's go. I got myself a lawyer. A damn good one. Thankfully, I live in a state where filial responsibility laws aren't enforced in cases like mine. Basically, the law doesn't apply when 1. The parent abandoned or neglected the child. 2. The child isn't financially dependent on the parent. 3. The parent is only suing because they made poor financial choices. My lawyer tore her case apart. We presented proof that she had disowned me at 18. That I was never legally adopted by Steve, meaning I owed him nothing. That she had never once reached out in those 3 years. Not for my birthday, not for holidays, nothing. She tried to paint me as a selfish, ungrateful child who was refusing to help a dying man. But the judge? He wasn't buying it. He asked her why, if family was so important, She hadn't spoken to me in years. Why, if I was supposed to be a part of the family, she had thrown me out the moment Steve told her to. She had no answers. The case was dismissed. I walked out of that courtroom feeling free. Not just legally, but emotionally. Because in that moment I realized something. She wasn't my mom anymore. A mother doesn't throw her child away for a man. A mother doesn't only come back when she needs money. A mother doesn't sue her own child for not financing her mistakes. And if she wasn't my mom anymore, then I had no reason to feel guilty. A few months later, I heard from an old family friend that Steve's condition got worse. My mom lost the lawsuit, lost the money she spent on legal fees, and was now drowning in debt. My stepsister had to take out loans for school, and suddenly life wasn't so easy anymore. Do I feel bad? Not one bit. Because at the end of the day, I didn't choose this. They did.